so really busy. This week is really busy. So again, thank you. I see a number of my students here, so I'm happy about that. I'm Ginny Dosh, and I'm a career coach. And I just want to give you a brief overview of the career communities. This year we initiated this. Career communities are designed to connect you with opportunities, resources, and a community of alums and students, for example, the pre-law club, whose interests align with yours, your interests and your goals. We take an integrated approach to industry education, and we, as career coaches, are here to guide you through the exploration and the networking and skill building process. And that all includes exploration, the internship search, the job search. As in my role as the law and government career coach, also through the application process if you're applying to law school or you're applying to graduate school or both. We have career communities in arts and culture, health, finance, consulting, education and social impact, science, technology, and analytics. I don't think I've forgotten anything. If you have multiple interests, you can see, and when I say it's an integrated approach, you can see more than one career coach, and we all work together again to help you with your pursuits and to help you make informed decisions moving forward. Again, about everything from internships through the job search. If you know that you can make appointments with your career coach through Handshake, and I encourage everyone to do so if you haven't already. And I just also want to take a minute to thank Rachel Chrysler, our student intern coordinator, and to thank Quentin and Margot, because they put these events together all semester and they run smoothly, and it's a lot of work. So thank you to all of them. And again, thanks for being here, and take it away, Max. We're so grateful for your time and for your expertise. It's all yours.
Great. Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Works? Okay, great. And I guess it's funny that it's a difficult room to kind of manage, because I think that my screen's off to the left and I'm looking at it from a different direction. So it's a little odd, but anyway, I'm Max Grover. I'm class of 1993. So it was a long time ago. I was there. I went straight from college into law school. So there are many, one path could be going into the field and working in basically any industry, and then applying into law school. And that's definitely a path that you can take. I did not take that path. But I am currently with the London Stock Exchange. I am senior legal director in transformation and governance. So I'm doing a little bit of more of a strategic role now. But building up to this, I went after law school. I worked for a federal judge, and then I went in-house, and I worked in-house for several years in corporate restructuring. And then I had an opportunity to be general counsel after, I think it was 5 years out, for a software and technology company. So that was a great 5 years there. And thereafter, I ended up with a legal process outsourcing company as their general counsel. And that company was then purchased by a bigger company. And so that company was purchased by another company. It was a spinoff, and lots of different bobbing and weaving. Where ultimately I'm with London Stock Exchange. So I have lots and lots of experience in different kinds of law practices, and a variety of ways. And you'll find that when you talk to different lawyers, that there's really not a straight path. There's many paths to take and many different kinds of law to practice. And I didn't know any of that going into law school. I just was like a senior, graduated, and then started law school the next year. And I was like, I didn't come from a family of lawyers. And so I just learned about what the legal field was by talking to people. And I didn't have the benefit of having somebody to talk to more broadly without any sort of, there's no interview or, and that's what I would hope that I'm giving to you. Hopefully I'm like just a sounding board for, if you're interested in the legal profession, what might it be? Yeah, it could be so many different things. So I may, no regrets, just like use me as a sounding board, and I'm happy to provide my feedback and guidance for however it helps. So please use me. Sign up to Calendly. So I'm available to you. Any questions? Are we going to turn to questions, Jenny, or what do we?
If you want to proceed that way, sure.
We can do whatever, however you'd like. Me and Margaret are happy to talk a little bit about our kind of role as working on the career community, more of a student facing side of things, and how they can better, I guess, integrate and leverage all the resources that you have to offer. And then we could pivot to questions if you're okay with that. Or we can go to questions now. It's completely up to you.
Yeah, go ahead. Quick. Yeah, go. Yeah, just carry on.
Thank you. Hi, everybody. I'm Quentin Messer. I'm a senior here at Hamilton. I also work for the Government Law Career Communities team, so I get to interface with all the wonderful alumni and staff that work at the Career Center and the alumni that help to come support and enrich your student experience. So what we do is we connect wonderful alums like Max to you all. There's a plethora of resources that Max talked about. So the Calendly, which is where you're able to book appointments. There's also the Career Communities Google Calendar, which will post all the events that we can kind of dig up that we're facilitating and that we're aware of on there as well. So feel free to check that out. We'll plug it more at the end of this event as well. I guess my experiences with the Career Center has grown a lot, and I really encourage a lot of people to do so outside of just working for it. Over the last, I guess now 4 years, it's crazy to say as a senior, it's definitely gone through a lot of transformation in terms of how are we able to cater programming resources towards students. And one of the big things that came out of that were career communities, right? These are kind of all-encompassing groups that allow students to have that information presented to them rather than having to go through like Handshake or some of these other platforms to find those opportunities. So for me, it's been incredibly helpful to be a part of it because I see the things pop up on my calendar. I get the career communities, whether the collections, the job collections in my inbox.
The monthly newsletter.
There's a lot of different venues and ways to stay involved, to be connected, to leverage all the experiences that are out there. So yeah, I've seen it grow a lot. It's been really beneficial to my time here at Hamilton. It's a really big resource. So make sure that you're using it.
I'm Margot. I'm a sophomore. I'm a government and biology double major. And just like to echo exactly what Quentin just said, that the Career Center and career communities are both such like wonderful resources. Quentin was actually my orientation leader, and he's the one who told me that this job even existed in the first place. And he was basically just like, it's really been an amazing experience to be able to connect with alumni and then like have that transfer into my time at Hamilton. And I would just say that that's like completely true in the sense that like we're interacting with a lot of alums who all want to help us so much. Like, especially like, Max has dedicated so much of her time to help students amongst many other alums because we do have events throughout the semesters. And it's just like really making a good use of what we've been provided at Hamilton because we do have like a wonderful alumni network. And then something new this semester is the pre-law club. So they were officially, a club as of last semester and have been like, we worked kind of in tandem to them for the first time this semester, which has been great. So, plugging each other's events, making sure that you know, we're making use of the fact that there's a ton of students at Hamilton who are pre-law or who are interested in the legal field in some capacity, and making sure that like we're both tapping into those networks that we have. And you're welcome to talk about it more as well. But yeah, I just want to encourage you all, like Quentin said, to definitely join the career community if you're not already. We put all of the events on the Google Calendar. There's the monthly newsletter, and there's always alum who want to help you. And on those newsletters, oftentimes we will have resources, especially upcoming, with some alums who you're able to reach out to, and just like spotlighting things that you can learn about to really help to you know, make the most you can of Hamilton while you're here and beyond.
Yeah, I think another thing I forgot to add is like also I know it can be daunting to just even like cold email an alumni, or how do you even begin to foster those relationships, but these career communities are really essential and helpful for you able to do that, right? Like Max has offered up a considerable amount of her time, so you can book a Calendly with her, so you can help kind of navigate that process, right? So don't feel daunted by that. Use all the resources that Hamilton has to offer. And there are resources at your disposal. So that's another thing that we really are hoping that this fosters a spirit of, okay, well, even if I'm not even sure where to start or how to engage, let's demystify it. Let's do it. Take that first step and really push yourself into that realm. And once you do it after a while, you'll kind of realize it's actually all okay and everyone is here to help you.
Especially like the events that the Career Center hosts, those alums have already basically said, well, I want to help Hamilton students. So if you come to our events, it's a great way to be able to find someone who you know is going to want to talk to you and has really valuable experience for you. So that's also another way that like you can take that first step to reaching out to alums. Do you want to talk like for briefly?
Yeah, sure. I mean, yeah, well, I guess pre-law clubs similarly. Yeah, we're new. We just started last year. There was a pre-law club in like 2013, but we sort of started it back up with a couple of seniors last year. And so yeah, it's really meant like the Career Center. It's like, or the government and law career community is really meant like for all of you. And I feel like that's something that like sometimes it's hard to realize like what like they were just saying, like these people, we get them to come and speak because they want to help all of you. And so I think pre-law club, we have really been trying to get different events, different like lawyers. We have an event this Thursday, and just bringing in people to come talk to you, to give you guys firsthand, like, or all of us get like hear from other people's experience, and really learn and figure out if law is even something you want to go into, or figure out what type of law you want to do, or like Max was saying, taking a gap year, not taking a gap year. Yeah, it's really just meant to create a community for all of you. And yeah, so I think it's a really, really special that the pre-law club has been started. And so just, yeah, I would really recommend just taking advantage of coming to all of these events, because there wasn't like, it's really changed. Like this is really like a lot of new stuff. That's really exciting. So yeah.
I'm gonna open it up to questions. That is a great resource, and we have her on the board here. So if you guys have questions, we can definitely just start taking them.
Yeah.
Yeah, so my question is like, I'm like an international student, and I'm like potentially like interested in like doing some kind of like government like related job or like anything that has to like do with that. What do you think are like the possibilities for like international students in this kind of field? Because obviously, especially like now, like it's very like hard to like even like think of like how could one like get a job in like anything that kind of like environment. Or like just like with like against international students.
Yeah, related to international students in particular, I think that, the job market's difficult. It's like it's challenging job market, right? I have a senior in college and a junior in college right now, and it's tough out there. I think the international component, I think is I don't think that really plays that much of a role in finding a job. I mean, if you have language skills related to that, it's probably a positive. I think that, at least from my perspective, I'm working with a London Stock Exchange. So actually I'm one of the few Americans, to be totally frank. So I think that yeah, I wouldn't hold back at all. I think it's, not a negative. It could, certainly spin any, things to be positive. Again, language would be a bonus. It's depends upon what you're also interested in, if you wanted to like kind of lean into that. But again, it's a really, the field is so broad. It's not like there's a cookie cutter like kind of person that goes into it, because there's just law is like everywhere, right? It's international, it's, you know, it's domestic, it's corporate, it's financial, it's, you know, litigation, it's just so many different types of law. And that was one of the questions that I had when I entered law school. I didn't really know even what I wanted to do. I loved government, I loved debate, I was a public policy major. But again, I really didn't have that background. I didn't have anybody to really ask the stupid questions to. So I'm hoping that, you know, I can be that person. Just ask the questions, right? International, I think that's a great question. Just, I would not at all, I would lean into it. Lean into whatever it is that, you know, differentiates yourself, that you're interested in, that just, because law, it's just a broad topic. And then you bring into it the flavor of whatever you're really interested in.
Thank you.
Yeah, sure. Is anybody else? Yeah. Oh yeah, go ahead. I can't really point because again, I'm like looking from over here and you guys sound good.
I'm a junior here, obviously here at Hamilton, but I recently, I think I guess like a year ago, I didn't think that the law field consisted of more than just like in court litigation, and I started more about in-house counsels, and I guess I was curious to learn more about your work on the London Stock Exchange and what your legal responsibilities and day-to-day kind of look like.
Yeah, I think it's a fabulous question. So right, like there's all these different kinds of law, right? And exactly like I knew about law professions from TV, and most of those were like litigation in court. That is not at all what I do at all. So my like day to day now, well, as almost like a newer to an in-house environment, you're probably going to be dealing a lot with, like, think about contracts that with companies have like I was meeting with somebody earlier today from like United Rentals, and that's a huge 30,000 person company, and they have it's international. They basically rent out like large construction equipment, and they have their employment lawyers, who are the ones who I was at a continuing legal education class this morning. And so there's employment lawyers, then there's contracts lawyers, and then there's commercial lawyers, there's antitrust lawyers, there's think of it like privacy lawyers, all these different kinds of flavors of law. And in a company, in a larger company, you'll typically get all those kind of different flavors. And then to the extent that there's something really specific, you would then hire outside counsel to give an opinion on something like really kind of nuanced. So I think that, you know, we hire outside counsel a lot. So I work a lot with outside counsel as well. So I don't know if that helped in any way answer the question. Right now, what I'm doing is I've kind of like moved away from the business. We had one of our businesses is provides financial services, is the London Stock Exchange for financial services. And so I've moved from that, covering that area, to more of a strategic role. So I'm working on transformation and governance. So I'm really moved into more of a strategy role. And so now it's like, I almost feel like my legal background, because it's for the legal department. And I'm still a lawyer, but it's like I'm stretching into a lot of business, quite frankly. So a lot of understanding of like even workforce changes overall. Like, so I'm stretching into different types of considerations that I hadn't really been involved with before.
Thank you.
Sure. And I think the person next to you, oh yeah, did somebody else have a question? Yeah, although, yeah.
My name's Kira. I'm a junior at Hamilton and I'm studying for the LSAT right now and I'm hoping to apply to law school during my senior year. I was wondering if you'd be able to share with us some of the pros and cons that you noticed of going straight to law school.
Yeah. So when I graduated, it was a really tough job year as well. Like it's just, you know, things are ebb and flow, right? And so for me, I senior year, I knew I was just headed straight in because I knew that's what I was interested in, and I didn't see kind of a path going elsewhere. I think that there's you know, two sides of it. Quite, you know, you can make of it whatever you want. From my perspective, I liked it because I went straight in, having not stepped away from like the academic cadence of studying for tests and that kind of, I was already in that mode. And I think that, you know, that's a benefit going straight in, and I think it benefited me. Others of my friends, they had taken, I think one of them worked as a paralegal and then ended up back at law school. And she did well too. Like, so it's just, I think that you have to look at what opportunities you have. Right. It's, you know, apply if you're definitely interested in apply and, you know, I think you could make it work for you either way. It's just really your take on it. And, so that was a benefit that I felt, that it was like, it didn't take me away from the academic cadence. Testing I was already in it. Once you step out of that, it's a little harder to like remember how to sit down for tests and study and all that stuff. So anyone else? Yeah.
Hi, thank you so much for being here today. My question is, was there an experience, whether in law school, job opportunity, internship opportunity, that really like enlightened what kind of law you wanted to get into? Is there like something that really like stuck out in those experiences that helped kind of pave that path?
Yeah, that's a good question. I had always, so when I was in law school, what did I ended up interning with a bankruptcy judge in Manhattan, so downtown, and he was just a very influential judge. And so I did end up my first job out. I was interning for him, but then I worked for a federal judge. So that I enjoyed the financial component of I enjoyed like the corporate and financial, the dollars. I just found that actually resonated with me. And so corporate restructuring was a path that I took. I liked the concept of like even like turnarounds. I was very interested in like turning around businesses, and so I thought I would end up going down that path. But then, you know, things change, as you know, as long as you're moving in a direction, great, because then life will take you in a different path. And so what ended up, so I was working for a corporate restructuring boutique firm in Manhattan, and then I had an opportunity to go in-house to be the general counsel of the software company. And so that was like totally, and this was during like the software boom, where all these software companies were popping up everywhere. And so I took the opportunity, and I didn't really have the credentials for it, to be totally frank. But you learn on the job, and from then on, I was always in-house counsel, then making my way. Just, you know, again, I really enjoy being in-house. The litigation world's tough to do that long term, I think. And so I really enjoy being in-house because I'm able to like even exercise what I was always originally interested in, which is like business. Like I'm working for a company. I'm like in with finance and M&A. So I've done acquisitions where I'm the lead lawyer on the acquisitions with outside counsel as well that we hire. But you know, it's just fantastic. So I'm able to kind of stretch into those different kind of, if you're interested in something, you just kind of like lean in that direction, and then things happen. So I think my recommendation for all of you is just like, be interested, be curious, and that'll bring you so far, because people want to be around people who are curious and interested. So,
Thank you.
sure.
I guess I
Yeah.
just have a question. So you spoke a lot about like the flavors of law, and a couple of the questions kind of alluded to finding your niche. But I guess, are there certain like maybe forums or websites, or are there certain things that would help give people a little bit more of a, here's kind of what's out there, or like an aggregate? I don't know. I guess I'm just trying to, where do people start to find that flavor? How do they go about that?
I think you talk to people. I think this is exactly right. And I think earlier in this meeting, somebody had mentioned, like, reach out, Quentin, I think it was you, like, reach out to your alumni. Let me tell you, alumni from Hamilton want to hear from you. Even before I was reached out to Jody last year about seeing what I can contribute, because I'm like, kids are finally, or they're all your age, old enough for me to like do my own thing. Even before that, I get probably like twice a year a random call from a Hamilton student. And let me tell you, absolutely, I pick up the phone, and absolutely, I find time to talk to that person. Just so use the network, use, you know, from Hamilton's network. If you're not, you know, you can start with me initially, right? We can just talk through the different kinds of law there are. Then you can kind of do your searches. Nowadays, information is just right at your fingertips with you know, all the generative AI and everything's just totally available. But then absolutely don't feel shy at all to just reach out to alumni. So, but yeah, Quentin, I don't have like something that I could think of that would be, but I can think through if there is something kind of overall.
Okay. And we can also see what we can pick up on our end and share that with you to kind of get your assessment, if that's something that's worth sharing with the larger group as well.
Right.
I had a question. My name's Evan. Thank you for being here. And I'm a first year, and my question is kind of related to being a first year. How would you recommend balancing between our like general interest in law and our like interested like specific niche field? Like, I guess for context, like I'm interested in like antitrust litigation, but I'm not quite sure if I should focus deep on that or just have a general interest right now, because I was like previously told that if I niche down too fast, job opportunities and like other opportunities may be very scarce. So I just wanted your thoughts on that.
Yeah, I mean, I think, and again, it's what you make of it, right? So I kind of think, I mean, if you're interested in antitrust litigation, is that what I mean, that's very specific, very niche. I agree with that topic, but it's like, that's fantastic. If you can like lean into that, that's amazing. Not that you would be exclusive to something so like specific, because the point is like you can continue that interest while pursuing other interests as well, right? And it's, if you can, you know, what'll be interesting is like when you think about when all of you are thinking about heading into interviews, right? Whenever do any job, not just law, like what is it like? If you have something interesting to talk about, that's like it's tremendous, right? Because then it's just, you're able to showcase what, you know, something interesting about you. And then, for instance, you'd be like, oh, you're the antitrust litigation guy that came in interviewing for like, you know, I don't know what, from like, you know, in a finance job. Like, it's okay to have those, it's okay to have different interests. And like, let's be totally honest. You're coming from Hamilton, right? Hamilton is a tremendous school. It's a liberal arts school. And that's the point. Like it is not a technical school. I have one of my kids at a very technical school, and it is like very technical. And there's not a lot of movement there from like beyond what the major is. And that is not what you have, thankfully, at Hamilton. It's incredible school. And I think that from my perspective, going in, exercising what I've learned about and lived at Hamilton, in the jobs that I've had, I think that it has like truly been a success, my success, because it's never where I'm like very valued. It's always been that I am multifaceted, that I'm able to like pivot from one interest to another. And so that's what I'd recommend to you. Just like, again, liberal arts education is fantastic, even if you're interested in something very specific, because it gets you thinking in a different way. So yeah, feel free to set up time with me. We can talk a little bit more about that.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was just wondering how you see the legal profession changing with the development of AI, and if you see any changes in your day-to-day based on that.
There's a huge change in my day-to-day. Yeah. So so yeah, so we have so from a legal profession, okay, so just for a little context, so I'm also on the AI, we develop products that use AI, right? And then as a company, we also develop and use products for our own internal business, right? So AI is everywhere, including in our legal department. And so from our legal department, we do have agents that we've trained. Our lawyers have trained these agents, by the way, so it's not even, everybody can really get involved in AI, but even like looking into contracts, right? So assessing like liability, our exposure on liability, where years ago it would take a big project to go through thousands of contracts to figure out what our ranges of liability are. But with these AI agents, you can really just get through information very quickly. And so then that probably brings up a question about, what happens to this new workforce that's coming in, right? Where a lot of your knowledge is kind of cutting your teeth at that entry level. And that's something that we're talking a lot about, actually. How is it that we're going to bring in and train that next gen, your generation moving through law school and into the workforce? How are we going to, train and use this, that next generation? And I just read an article in The Economist this past week's issue. I don't know if anybody gets it, probably not. But they did talk about this, and it was there was a change in like a structure where normally when new graduates come out, it's like almost like a triangle, right? So there's like a lot of new graduates, and there's like a lot of like things that they're doing that are kind of the busy work. But that's actually changed. The model might change into looking more like a diamond, because the base information will be done by AI and agents. And then, there's still that wide center, that's the workforce, the workforce that's coming up to be. It's just they're going to have to, it's going to be a different skill set, I think. But the one thing that I think we had to be really careful of is not losing our critical thinking. And this even is something that I deal with, because we have our, I'm dealing with it too, right? I'm getting presentations together. I'm using AI, and I'm finding the limitations of AI is just not fabulous. But what we have to do is almost treat AI as a competitor. So it's almost like taking the first cut yourself of like critical thinking. What is it that I'm trying to solve for? What is it that I'm thinking through? So we keep our brains like engaged, and then running that through AI to say, oh crap, I missed that point, or whatever it is. Almost like a challenger, making sure AI is incredibly important and everybody needs to use it. And from the future lawyer, it is imperative that you really know AI, because you're going to actually be that much better. And all the law firms are using it. It's everywhere, but it's a matter of what you're doing with that information. And it's not that the jobs are not there. They are going to be there. It's going to be just looking a little different. And somebody said to me recently that the role that I'm performing now, which is this transformation, governance, and almost like strategic role, that's a lot. I think somebody had mentioned like might be like lawyers are going to be involved more in like strategy and like business from an in-house counsel perspective, from a litigation perspective. It's different, and we can talk through what that might look like. But just from my own personal experience in-house, like what that's going to look like for the future gen is interesting. Good question.
Hi, I'm a sophomore, and I was wondering if people choose to take a gap year, if people only like paralegals before law school, or like what type of jobs you'd recommend doing during that gap year.
Yeah, in between, it could be anything. I mean, as I said, like you can actually like take a proper gap year. And what does that mean? That means that, you'll be talking about like your experiences and how you grew and all that stuff. And then if you take a job somewhere, I mean, it could be, you name it. It could be in a law firm. Sure, that's good in the sense that it would give you an idea of what it means to work in a law firm, or go into just like anything else. And it's just almost leaning into that, whatever that is. And that's the beauty of law, is that it's like, it's everywhere. If you're interested in science, I mean, if you end up going, working for a lab and then you decide to apply to law school, there's a host of legal professions incorporating sciences.
Thank you.
Sure. Yeah, no, it's great. Okay, I'm probably talking too much. So, but yeah, feel free, like really set up time. Oh yeah, you have another question? Oh yeah. Yeah.
Thanks for being here. I was just curious if there's anything that surprised you during your career path about the legal field, or something that maybe changed your perception of it. More of a general question.
I think I was surprised about how broad it is, meaning like what I was just referencing, that you can really do legal professions like everywhere. It's like and even going into law school, when you come out, you're thinking very, very differently. And it's an education like no other. Again, critical thinking. Yeah, so I think that when I was headed there, I was really naive. I really didn't know anything about it, and it landed there, and I'm so thankful I did. But it was yeah, it's just that it's very broad. You can make anything of it.
You.
Yeah.
Could you speak a bit about your experience at law school, like the classes you took, or just like the environment it was, stuff like that?
Yeah, sure. That's a long time ago. So let me just think for a minute. I didn't prep for this question.
Sorry.
Sorry. Yeah, so the environment of law school, it's almost like, so if you think about, I don't know where everybody went to high school, right? But everybody went to high school. Everybody has to go to high school. Everybody has to go. And then you enter college and like there are people and you're looking right and left in your classes, like people want to be at Hamilton. People want to be at school, right? It's like, people are happy there and, you know, it's a great place and maybe not, but generally, when you hit law school, you have to like really, really, really want to be there. So in fact, with the nice thing about it is that everybody's like absolutely geared in and engaged. So it's not like I didn't feel like it was cutthroat at all. That's not what I mean by engaged. I mean like everybody's there thinking, everybody's there working. Like your first year is really tough, really tough, really tough. And it's almost like understanding why are we all here that first year? That's why I think it's so tough. What am I here? You're reading, you have to do all this reading. So what? Why am I doing this reading? And it's almost like the light bulb went off with me at the end of my first year, beginning of my second year, about how that I wasn't reading to just read. I was reading for a purpose. And that purpose was reading the cases to like as an example of like what they were teaching, like the main rule, and then like there are exceptions to that rule, and those cases were examples of those exceptions. And so then it kind of like, I don't know why it took me a whole year, but I think other people have that same experience. It's kind of like, because we're all just, you know, you're fairly smart, you think you can just like drop in, but it really helped for that context, like, why am I reading this? And that's, I have my niece as a first year at law school, and I was talking to her in the beginning of this semester about just that, like making sure that when she's reading, it's an intent, she's intentional. You don't have to read every word of the whole case. You have to like, you're reading for the purpose, and then you can move on. So you're not like killing yourself trying to read every word in the case, right? So it's just, yeah, so it's interesting, but
Thank you.
I hope that answered a bit. I don't know if I answered. Yeah.
I guess my question also like to is related to the previous question is like, what other differences and what other similarities does law school have to undergrad, and did a liberal arts education at Hamilton aid that adjustment to law school, or was it more different, would you say?
I mean, so first part of the question was, sorry, can you repeat the first part?
Like what other differences and I guess similarities was it from law school and like undergrad, I guess?
Yeah. So similarities are, again, it's just amplified, but people want to be there, right? People want to be there. They're paying attention. Study groups. I don't know what's happening at Hamilton with study groups. Do you guys like have like a lot of study groups where you're working in smaller groups? Or is it more mixed, right? So in law school, study groups are very important. And that was something that wasn't, you know, my first semester, I didn't really realize that, because it's just a matter of you need a little group to talk to brainstorm with, to understand like, wait, I didn't get that. Why are we reading this case or not? Or what does this mean? And that really helped. So I think that study groups are that's a main difference. But Hamilton, I felt really prepared me for law school in that, again, it's like that critical thinking in like a broad education, like broadly. I was public policy major, so I took like government and economics and philosophy courses. So
Thank you so much.
sure. Okay, well, I think if anybody has any questions, please sign up to Calendly. I'm available. And if there's a time, if those times don't work for you, just shoot me an email and we can find another time. Okay.
Thank you. And we'll definitely make sure everyone has the link to the calendar if they don't.
Also front on this kind of standing sheet right here, there's a QR code at the bottom that'll add you to the government and law career communities team. So get all the Google Calendar updates that we talked about. And like Margo said, we actually went into that. But yeah, all the info is there. Feel free to see Will, who's our other career coach for government, and then Jenny right here, who's our wonderful career center advisor for government and law.
There are so many good resources and they're all available to you guys. You just have to take the first step and book an appointment.
We give a round of applause to Max. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you to you guys. Thank you. It's been really great.
Very
Thank you,
good.
Max.
Thanks so much.
Hi.
Thanks, bye.